On behalf of the National Assembly of Suriname, I welcome you to our country, the most forested country in the world. It has become quite normal for us in the past decades that countries, and for us, more specific parliaments of different countries, gather to discuss common problems, specific challenges, and opportunities for cooperation. We do this because this can provide mutual benefit. But we have to realize that this is actually not natural, but an achievement. An achievement of the 20th century, after wars with great suffering devastated the world, and humanity became aware that dialogue and cooperation was the only route to peace and prosperity for all. Today, in the world we live in today, we experience that countries start to pull out of treaties of cooperation, of institutions and agreements that have to keep the world orderly and safe. This is of great concern, especially to small nations like ours. Today, we are also facing climate change that can bring suffering and in the longer term devastation to humans on a scale we probably cannot imagine. We have not been able to address this issue sufficiently up to this moment and need to convince high-emission, low-forestation countries to take their responsibility and reduce emissions while supporting the preservation and expansion of forests. This means that we have to address this issue. We need to put it on the table in every meeting and in every encounter we have in all the organizations we are part of. This makes us even more aware that working together and achieving cooperation for mutual benefit is not something we can take for granted. We have the obligation, we owe it to our peoples, to nourish the relationships we have, to establish new ones, to work with countries that face the same problems, and find solutions that will create real opportunities for the people, in our case, of the Caribbean. We are depending on the powerful nations in the world to keep the peace so that everyone, the whole world, the rich and the poor, developing nations and nations that have established a good economic situation for themselves, that we can exist and that we can develop in peace. We also depend on these powerful nations to change the paradigm of our political economical system that has brought us where we are today. A world in which about 100 people own as much as what half of the world population owns. A never-before-seen concentration of wealth and the power that goes with it. A world that, according to the IPCC, faces hardship in the short term, actually now we are already facing it, devastation, and in the longer term, even extinction if we cannot stop runaway climate change. As we stated as parliaments, in the IPU conference in Ecuador, it was in 2013, we need to move away from a system that promotes only relentless growth to a system that recognizes that human well-being is the primary goal and objective of all of our actions. We need a world of sustainable well-being. Buen vivir. I wish you productive days, and I open this conference.